Howdy, folks. I'm Ultra Fast Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some speedy Reddit. We're gonna blast through these stories, so let's get started. Alright, folks, our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for my response to my son's gender disappointment? My son and his wife are expecting. They came over for a visit after they found out the gender of the baby, a girl. My daughter-in-law was complaining about how my son had reacted. He was upset and giving her the silent treatment and lashing out at the slightest attempt to speak to him. I talked to him at dinner, although he tried to cut the conversation. He then got upset and told me that his reaction was reasonable since gender disappointment is a thing and having a girl is a valid reason for this. I responded, well, not necessarily. For example, I have a son and I'm feeling disappointed right now. He looked at me with shock while the others chuckled, and then he got up and stormed off. He left later without talking to me, but told his mom about how hurt he was by what I said. Now she's telling me I messed up, invalidated his feelings, and should apologize. Am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, and I love the clap back.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have a gender preference, it's another thing to give your partner the silent treatment over it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, our brains are weird and irrational, and so, even though we shouldn't prefer things, sometimes we do, but I think your answer really highlighted what the issue is, OP.
Yeah, and it's funny speaking that he's like, you shouldn't have hurt my feelings when he's literally hurting his wife's feelings and treating her like garbage. So he deserved his comeuppance, if you ask me.
And I'd like to point out that the person who controls the sex of a baby is the person with the Y chromosome.
Yeah, exactly. So it's his fault. So he is only disappointed in himself. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling a Guy that he was delusional if he thought that I ever dated him? For some context, a few years ago, I lived with someone that we will call Terry. He was an older guy about my dad's age. I knew that he liked me, but I wasn't into him for many reasons. He had 2 kids, an 11-year-old male and a 24-year-old female, who liked that I was living with him. I tried to explain to him many times that I was just a roommate to him because I was not ready for a relationship. He said that he understood and enjoyed helping a friend out either way. I caught him calling me his girlfriend many times to people. I told him that he needed to stop this because we are not dating. He said that he would stop, but it just sounded right and normal. So people just don't ask what we are when we say that we are going home. Roommate,
Yeah.
that's the word. Roommate is the word you're looking for. Friends. I said that it doesn't matter what other people think. We are not dating. It got to the point where I had to move because he wouldn't stop. On to the story. I'm now married with children. My family and I ran into him at the fair and he started talking with us. He made a comment about how he hasn't seen me in shorts in a long time. My husband said that I wear them all the time when it's hot and asked when the last time he saw me in shorts was. Terry looked at me and said, the last time I saw you wearing shorts was when we were dating. My husband looked confused and asked when that happened. I was irritated and I told my husband it didn't, but we lived together. Terry tried to say that we might as well have dated because we acted like it. Here is where I might be the jerk. I started laughing and said that he was delusional if he thought I would have ever dated him. He said that I was a jerk and I didn't need to put it that way. I told him that he wasn't getting the hint that we never dated, so maybe a more brutal approach would work. I don't think I said anything wrong, but I wanted to get more opinions on if I am the jerk. So, am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. This guy was creating a fantastical narrative in his head. You didn't want any part of it. You had to stop it.
Exactly. This is just not normal or healthy, and the fact that he just continues to be like, oh, we were dating, even after you moved out explicitly because he refused to stop, says a lot about him. So yeah, a real gross character here. I'm glad OP was able to have a nice clapback there too. It's the day of clapbacks. Let's move on to the next story. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Being Annoyed at My Wife's New Healthy Lifestyle? As a disclaimer, my wife and I have been together for 13 years and are in our 30s. No kids, moderately healthy lifestyle, but we used to indulge in alcohol and fast food a lot. So within the last 5 months or so, my wife has suddenly started worrying about our health and cleaning up our lifestyles. She made us smoothies or overnight oats every morning, plans healthy lunches and dinners, and sets up our vitamin intake every week. She also schedules multiple doctor's appointments for the both of us to get full physicals, dental work, dermatologist appointments, etc. I'm going to be honest, it's getting on my nerves solely because I get tired of eating overnight oats or drinking smoothies. I get tired of taking vitamins, and I don't like going to the doctor. We do get a cheat day on Fridays, so that's nice, but I miss eating food that I love. She picks great and almost gourmet healthy food to make for our dinner, but a few days ago, she made me a green smoothie for breakfast, and I told her that I didn't like it, and if she could make me something else. She got irritated and said that she wakes up at 5 a.m. to make us our breakfast and lunches, and if I wanted something different, I could make it myself. This became a fight where she said that she manages the entire house and she feels unappreciated. She now's not making me any breakfast when I ask. She keeps saying that I can do it myself and that I can start managing my own health. Reddit, am I the jerk here? And let's read a couple of comments real quick. Some condemning comments, if you will. And Grinch Grotto says, Info, did the two of you ever sit down and discuss any of this? To me, it sounds like there's a lack of communication. And OP replies, sort of. It's more like her and I reached rock bottom in our depression and we were super unhealthy for about a year. Then she said that we aren't living like this anymore, and here we are, 5 months later. And OG Crypt Keeper says, You're the jerk. Edited based on OP's reply. Based on the info you have provided, it sounds like she is dictating what you are supposed to eat and when. If she's not taking into account your preferences and consulting you about your input directly related to health matters, that's not appropriate. I think some communication would work wonders here. And edit. OP replied, the meal plans are run past him, so I've updated this to You're the Jerk. And OP replies, I probably should have put this in the post, but she runs all of the healthy meals by me, and I agree to them before picking the week's menu, so I guess I can't be disingenuous and say that she's forcing me to eat these meals. Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Yes, you're the jerk. OP, you told her this is what you're okay with eating, and then you're like, can you make me something else? Like,
Yeah.
she is doing so much around the house, and you don't seem to appreciate it at
Yeah.
all, so I don't blame her for not wanting to make breakfast for you.
Yeah, I don't blame her in the least. It sounds like she was doing a lot for you, and you were taking her for granted, and then now suddenly she doesn't want to do it for you anymore for whatever reason. So, yeah, I think she was just looking out for both of you, and you basically bit the hand that fed you, quite literally. Well, not the biting part, but you know what I mean. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Husband's Parents to Stop Telling People My Name is Katherine, and for embarrassing them in front of friends? My name is Rin. Just Rin, not Katherine. But ever since my in-laws met me, they have gotten the idea that my actual name is Katherine, and Rin is just a nickname. I have asked them not to introduce me or tell people it's my name, but they always go back to it. My husband and I took a small break from them when it continued, and they apologized, and it seemed like they were doing better. Then, for my mother-in-law's birthday, we were invited to celebrate with them, and a couple of her friends came up to me and asked if I was Katherine. They said that mother-in-law talked all about me. I decided to get a bit jokey instead of annoyed, and I played up on it and said that mother-in-law is so forgetful, and that I was so sorry that she told them the wrong name, that I'll need to write my name on everything that she owns so that they don't forget. Her friends found it funny, but told her that it was weird that she gave them the wrong name. She and father-in-law came up to me close to the end of the party and told them to stop telling people that my name is Katherine, and they need to accept that my name isn't up to them. They claimed that I was rude and that it was awful for me to try embarrassing them in front of friends by joking with mother-in-law's friends. My husband told them that they should have listened, but they are saying that I took it too far, and maybe I did. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. Catherine's not your name. You're full within your right to call her out, and you did it even in a jokey way.
Yeah, you weren't like angry, you didn't yell at them, you didn't disturb their party, you just were like, oh, haha, they have such a bad memory. And you made light of it, and everyone was having a good time. And hopefully it was going to be one of these things where if they had just taken it and realized that, because you've already talked to them about this, so they should know better. They said that they were going to honor this, and they're not honoring it. So that's their problem at that point in time, not yours, OP. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, our last letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my son's mom that he's staying with me while he recovers? My 9-year-old son needed a hip bone ostomy surgery, and his mom and I scheduled it before his 3-week winter break. My ex and I share 50-50 custody, but I get him on winter breaks, so she could take him out of our state to see her family in the summertime. The day before the surgery, she asked me if Rye could stay at her place to recover from the surgery. I asked her why, and she said that she just wanted to be there. I said no. Rye has never had a surgery, and it's a big deal for him. I don't want him to think that the first thing that you need when you face something scary is to run to your mom and not your dad. I told her that I was quite insulted by her request, plus he was going to need help getting dressed, undressed, and bathed for the first couple of days, and I highly doubted that he would be comfortable with having his mom do that. She said that her husband could do that. I told her no, he's having the surgery and I'm taking him to my house when he's released. I don't care if she's in the operating room. She then asked if she could see him at my place, and I said no. The agreement is that we have a scheduled FaceTime with him when he's at the other parent's house. I don't want my ex-wife in my home any more than she wants me in hers. If the shoe was on the other foot, then I would understand whether or not I liked it. I held firm, and things have been tense between us ever since. Personally, I don't care because I'm not apologizing for giving her what she wanted. Edit, no, my son doesn't get to decide who he gets to stay with and when he does and for how long. That's why there are custody agreements. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Yes, you're the jerk. It's one thing to want to have him in your house. It's
Yeah,
another
yeah.
thing to ban his other parent from seeing him. This is not a normal circumstance. He's just had a surgery. He should be able to have both parents.
Yeah, I think that this is one of those cases, rare cases, where a custody agreement is an agreement and is a general guideline. And certainly, like, you should hold to it as closely as possible, but there are extenuating circumstances when custody agreements should be temporarily modified without the courts or anything like that getting involved, right? And I think by denying her the ability to see him, at least, she doesn't need to be over at your house 24 hours a day. But it would be nice if you had opened up your home to her to allow her to come and see him. So,
Yeah, and it just sounds like you're really bitter about her and you're letting this hurt your son. You
Yeah.
need to put him first, not your feelings toward your ex-wife.
Yeah, and I think there also needs to be some kind of input here about what your son wants and what he's comfortable with. And if he doesn't want his mom around him when he's recovering from surgery, then that may be a little more understandable. Like, if he's very uncomfortable with this, then maybe that's a perfectly fine reason to be like, I talked with him. Not to, of course, reveal that, and that, because that might be actually really hurtful. But certainly, to say, put your foot down and say no if he really doesn't want her around. But it's another thing if he's interested in having her around. So I think he's being selfish here. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber's got a very jovial Bob Stein joke for us to hear.
Why did Frankenstein stick his finger in the electrical socket?
because Bernard the Unhinged attacked him and told him that if he didn't, then there would be grave consequences.
He wanted to keep up on current events. But I like yours.
And I have Mega Mint. You just never know when to expect Bernard the Unhinged. It's one of those things where Bernard the Unhinged is like the Spanish Inquisition. And I also have a very special guest tea. It's ginseng and matcha green. And it's interesting, all right? Like the green tea, the matcha does not come out very well. And it's odd that they would put matcha in a tea that would require boiling, because matcha is one of those teas that you can't really bring up to like boiling temperature, but ginseng is one of those teas where you have to. It's an herbal tea, right? You have to boil it in hot water, so it doesn't make any sense to me, right? It also feels like there's a lot of ginger in this, and it kind of has a citrusy flavor to it as well, but certainly there aren't any hints of green tea in it at all. So that's kind of my feeling on it. It's not terrible, but it's also not a tea that I would go out of my way to drink. It's a little bit earthy, It's a little potent, but it's also been sitting here for a while. But it was potent before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not terrible, like I said. It would be another, I'm feeling kind of sick, and I feel like having a disgusting tea that I hope will make me feel better. It's not disgusting.
I had one sip and I was like, nope.
Amber has a much more sensitive palate than I do. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you're all having a great Friday. It's the start of the weekend, hopefully. Some of you it isn't. Some of you it's your first days of work or second days of work. So wherever you are in your work week, I hope you're all having a great week. But thanks so much for watching, and we would be remiss not to have a moral to the story today. So, Amber, what is the moral of the story today?
Oh gosh, there's so many stories to choose from.
If at first you don't succeed, clap back.
Yeah, I mean, we did have some really good clapbacks. And I guess just in general, respect other people and don't be garbage to them, because then maybe they will clap back at you or worse.
Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.